How are you today? So, I'm going to read a little Srimad Bhagavatam. Um, just a few verses here because it's the morning. And maybe we can get to GNA and see how much time we have. So, I just want to go through this verse. It says, the body of such a liberated yogi, along with the senses, is taken charge by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and its function until its destined activities are finished, because a liberated devotee, being awakened in conscious position, thus situated in samadhi, the highest perfection of stage yogi, does not accept the byproducts of the material world as his own. He considers his bodily activities to be like the activities of a body in a dream. And because of great affection for family and wealth, one accepts a son, and some money as his own, and due to affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his, but actually one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him. So a liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same. This is the principle. So it says here that you can actually be under God, so under his guise, right, under the control. Daiva Vasaga, right? So you don't have to control everything, right? Basically, you have to surrender to God, and God will start to control things for you. And you'll find out that this world wasn't you to begin with. It's the understanding, right? So now you're becoming liberated, now that the soul and the super soul is gonna guide you. So that is the quest of a human being. It should be to become liberated, to basically transcend the body, not be so stuck into the body. Now everybody's stuck in the body. They're saying, that's my enemy, he's my enemy, she's the enemy, and then everyone's trying to get each other now. That's the idea. Get money and get each other. No, that's not the idea of life. You're wasting your life, you're wasting your time, you're getting bad karma. You're going to have to get those fruits eventually. What you gave to others will come to you, undoubtedly. Okay, you're not doing anything for God, because if you were, you'd be spreading mercy and divine love and knowledge, right? So you can't say that, I need to serve myself and my ego, therefore everything works. No. So this is what this is saying too. Just as a person sees that, this family is beautiful, it's mine, it's my son, it's my wife, but it's not me. I'm different from that. I'm actually different. I'm a different person. Same way the liberated soul sees the body. I am this body, right? So I can say, I'm this body, but I can accept certain things, but I'm not the body. That makes me liberated. See what I mean? That's what you got to try to keep. That balance in your life. That you're not so like, I got to be the body. I got to do this for the body. Oh, the body. No, work on the soul. The soul will free you of the vice. And this is why so many problems in our government, and I keep telling them, seek real advice. Seek real advisors. Don't seek people on the bodily platform. If anybody comes in there with an agenda, we are this or that is this, and we have to do... No, forget it. You are a soul. You're serving God. You're doing what's right. If you don't know what's right, then you're not the advisor. Simple as that. If you think what's right is your little spooky plan about how you got to do everything covert, no, you're not a leader. So, here we go. We're going to go into my book now, being that we had such a good outcome with that. Now you understand what a liberated soul is. You could become a liberated soul. Don't wait around and try to be somebody else. Be yourself, and then you could be Daiva Vasaga, right? Daiva Vasaga. Then you can be under the demigods, under the gods, and they'll tell you what to do. Certain people have a tendency with that, right? Yeah. So that's where you get it from. You don't have to be the spectacular, Dracula from Mount Cacula. You can do it on your own, okay? So now here we go. We also find in ancient versions of epic historic, my book, page 59, the code of Earth's creational system. We also find ancient versions of epic esoteric hidden history in there is reasoning to allow us to discuss it in higher contexts and see how the many functions of GNA applied back then. Wealthy kings of ancient times were said to be vast empires of altruistic wealth that were situated in their position rightfully without having to seek to the citizens for propaganda. Affirmations as they didn't have to round up so much support with rhetoric as we see today, that they even have been recorded for their retiring postures that nowadays we don't normally attribute. Oh my God, another GNA Miracle. I opened it up. right to the page that we were talking about. And something said, read that. I was going to do the whole flick, but it said, read that. And it was there. It was there. So if you want to see how that worked, Daiva Vasaga, you just saw it. Make your life Daiva Vasaga. Don't wait for somebody else. But those who know, like myself and others, you can come and get some help. Well, I'll give you some help as far as speaking and sharing the holy name, and you know, you could help my life in somehow, maybe, and that will help you get advanced, believe it or not. You will get a taste of my consciousness. You'll get an understanding, and then you'll be able to put it into yourself and start learning how to do it on your own. So the nowadays, just like you learn anything else, right? You learn under some mentor, it's a lot easier. But then nowadays we normally see attribute someone else's retirement to the legacy, at least not extensively. But theirs we did, and that is because they give up the most of the times and went to the forest or hermitages and monasteries, etc., and lived austere, renouncing all they had. Thus, the negative energy they showed the most civil and meaningful ways of good life. They didn't go against the grain, and that is how GNA is proven in the history. Basically, what it's saying is that the kings and the old people right back then, when they were a certain level, right, like half of their life, 60 years old, whatever it was, 50, they started to recluse, and they went into hermitage. You know, they got a little hut in the woods, and or a cabin, you know, in the north here, and they lived humbly, right, and they meditated, and they devoted themselves to God instead of being distracted every day by this world, right? So by doing that, those beings became great as opposed to superflous as you see today. So many people are so old and they're still around trying to manage the government, and then what is coming out is just their misery. Oh, we have to die. Everybody else should die. We got to give these vaccines. We got to give this and that. We got to, you know, all these crazy ideas. Some of them don't even know, but some of these things are hurting people, right? Some of these plans and these ideologies are just hurting people when it's really people that should have retired already and should have done something else. That is, what is that saying? You know, it's saying that the kings were known because they were great because they knew when to give up. Just like Parikya Maharaj, I was just talking about that, how the serpent came. You know, they could call a giant serpent to come kill you in a few days. Back then there was huge serpents, you know, 50 feet, 60 feet. They would, not much to stop them back, you know, 5,000 years ago. I mean, they had stone structures and stuff like that, but a 60-foot serpent that could breathe fire, there's not much that can stop it. I'll tell you that. And it would come, and, you know, that's it. That was the curse. Now, the king would, you know, some kings would be like, all right, I'm going to fight this thing. I'm going to use my mantras, my astras, etc. But this king just sat and took it. He heard Bhagavatam, he learned about God, and he said, this is my destiny, I'm ready to go. And he had full faith, and he attained heaven like that too. So that was King Parikshit Maharaj, the grandfather of Yudhishthira, the 5 Pandavas, the Mahabharata. And so this is the same idea. You got to know when to just say, hey, I'm working on my soul. I'm not going to make the world a miserable place. I had my existence. Now I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to focus on the soul and what is in. I had what was out. I had it for many years, right? They could say I had why. You know, for instance, the president, he had 3 marriages, something like that. 2, 3 marriages, and you know, he has kids everywhere, and, you know, confidants, businesses. I mean, he had everything. Doesn't need any more. They don't need more. They don't need to, oh, I need to make people miserable. I need to repopulate the world, or I need to be against these people so I can do hideous things. No. Put it away. Go home. Go to sleep. You know, go into your cabin, really. Find a nice cabin, all that money you got. Find a nice cabin and meditate. Be humble, because life is not going to be forever. And all those things you did, all those miserable things you did, you had to control the people because they're your enemy or whatever it was, that's all going to come back to you. Why would you want to control somebody if you're their enemy, if they're your enemy? That's a really bad deal, because one day someone's going to have to control you, and that's your enemy, and that's going to be a bad scene, and the heavens are going to be like, wow, well, you know, these are the souls that did that. What can we do? They have to sit there. So let's do the right thing, everybody, and follow the text. Daiva Vasaga, we have to become Daiva Vasaga, liberated, and conduct and mercies of God, and love for all. Okay? Have a good day. Hare Krishna from GNA. NUNA, the Universal Negative Access, is also on the rise. I can't wait to start the book. I'm just waiting for a little more traction or cash money. Thank you.